This is Run a Profitable Gym. Today, I'm going to tell you two things. I'm going to tell you, first of all, what the top gym owners in the world earn each month. These are actual behind the curtain stats, and you're going to get them in about 30 seconds. Number two, we're going to talk to a gym owner who is on that list, and he's going to share some of his secrets with you. Before we go further, hit subscribe. Elite gym owners come on this show every month, and they share their secrets. I don't want you to miss any of that. Now, as promised, verified stats. This is real data from Two Brain Business. The top 10 gym owners earned between $17,000 and $44,000 US in June 2023. Those are huge numbers. Get this, they're rolling 3-month averages for net owner benefit. It's not one crazy month. This is monthly earnings sustained over an entire quarter. So this is sustainable income. I'll let you do the math of times 12 and see what that equals for the year. But these are great, great numbers. Now that you know the actual numbers, my guest is going to give you some tips on how you can reach them too. His name is Justin Dickson. He owns Salt Lake City CrossFit and another gym, but we're going to focus on that one for today. Justin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am pumped up to share some secrets with the community. So here we go, right into it. How has your net owner benefit changed over time? Like, where did this thing start and how has it improved?
Yeah, well, that's kind of a long story. I think some gym owners will probably find this encouraging, that our gym was not always successful. There was a point in time where I actually didn't know if we were going to make it. There was, quite a long history of ups and downs, because back when we started, there was no direct path to understanding how to run a gym. It was just trial and error, and I made every single error you could possibly make. I learned things the hard way. I think I went an entire quarter without being able to pay myself for a while. And so, we got through that, and now things are much better.
What's the one thing, I'm going to dig in, but this is the quick one. What's the one thing that changed that for you?
So if I had to boil it down to one thing, I mean, there's not really one thing that you can say that does it, because there's a whole series of things that has to happen. And then in hindsight, there's probably three stages that I went through where I had to go through those stages to really get to where I am. But the short term, if I had to boil everything down to one thing, is higher value offers. You know, if you want to make more money, you have to get your clients to pay you more money. So you have to be more valuable. So that's kind of the stage that we got to when we really started making some money. So,
okay, we're going to dig into the background and we'll get into the weeds there. And I want to pull out some details for listeners. But first, give me the rundown of your gym situation. I know you have two. Give me the rundown of Salt Lake City and tell me kind of what you do there, what you sell, how much space you've got. Give me the basic 411.
Yeah, so our downtown location, we have about 10,000 square feet, approximately close to 300 members. We've got a staff of 11 people, probably 4 full-time staff. And we do group classes, personal training, nutrition, health coaching, accountability, you name it. It's basically, we provide, we try to solve problems for people. And whatever it takes to get there, that's what we offer.
Health coaching sounds like a high value service to me. Am I right?
Yeah. I think that a lot of times as gym owners, we get pegged into this, we have to offer exercise and nutrition. And there's really this whole line of health, habits that need to take place in order to really maximize those.
Okay, I like it. So you got a fairly big facility there, 10,000 square feet. You got a big staff. You obviously know how to run and manage that. Gym owners, if you're looking at staff management, we have a show in our archives about managing big teams and growing your team. So check that out. And net owner benefit. This is an important one. It's not just your earnings from the gym, like in terms of your wages. It could be like dividends. It could be salary. It could be other benefits that you get, like some people use their car or their cell phone or things like that. So net owner benefit is an all-encompassing number that basically gives out your exact total benefit for being the owner of the gym. And it should be large because you are taking a risk and you are taking responsibility and you have staff, all these other things. So Justin, tell me a little bit about your net owner benefit strategy. Is it salary, dividends, benefits? Like, share as much or as little as you like here, but I'd just be curious into what goes into your number.
Yeah, it's all of those.
Okay.
And I think the simple answer for that is that there's really three things: is write off as much as legally possible.
Right.
with that, it's also, you want to keep your expenses as low as you can and provide as much value to your clients as possible and charge a reasonable rate for that. That's kind of the three things there. But I have a W-2 income that I have. I write off everything that I can legally write off, and I take dividends. I have a home office at home. I work mostly from home because, as you know, if you're in the gym, you're not really able to focus and try to get a lot done there because there's so many awesome people at the gym, and you're always talking to them. So I work mainly from home. And so, I have a home office. I write that off, and everything is included in there.
That's perfect. And so listeners, if that is like, crazy science to you, talk to an accountant. An accountant will tell you exactly what Justin said, what you can legally do. And that's the whole thing, is you want to give the government exactly what they're owed, not a penny more, and write off things as you can, derive as much benefit from the business as you legally can. So ask your accountant about that. If you need some help, I'll throw out the name John Briggs. He wrote Profit First for Microgym, and he will help you do exactly that. So that's a reference that I'll give you guys. So circling back, we're going to dive into what you're talking about there. You said there was kind of 3 stages that you went through in driving this number up. So kind of walk me through that. What happened to you? You said you went from like not paying yourself for 3 months to now you're in the top 10 of gym owners in, elite company. Talk to me about this one.
Yeah, so I'd say there's probably 3 stages to this, and it's not like I came out the gate with these things in mind. I stumbled through this whole process, and so it's only in hindsight that I realized that these things are like stages that I went through. And the first one's really personal development, because we're talking about, you have to make more money here, so you have to be able to charge more money. That means you have to be worth more money. You have to know how to manage staff. You have to know how to communicate with people. There's a whole list of things that you have to do. So that first stage is really personal development, and it's all about trying to level up. If you can't write programs for people, if you can't help people, beyond just telling them what to do, you have to get them to want to do it, and you have to get them to do it to be able to create value. I think, early in my years as a coach, I would just tell people like, oh, this is what you need to do, and then they wouldn't do it, and I'd be like, oh, that's not my fault. But as we become better at coaching, you realize that there's this whole level of skills that you have to develop to really make yourself more valuable. And so that first stage is really about personal development, trying to level up. And all of these stages overlap. It's just that more of your focus in the beginning has to be on you leveling up, because you're never done. You're never done. You always got to consistently try to learn more about everything that you can. So that stage is never done. And the next stage is systems. You have to systemize everything. Everything in your gym, you have to systemize it. And if you don't systemize it, you really can't move forward because you're always taking a step back. And after systems is really educating your staff, because you are one person. If you want to make more money, you have to be able to get your staff to level up as well. Because otherwise you're going to spend all your time, servicing everything. And there's only so much you can do in a day. So you're really going to be capped at a certain point. So in hindsight, it's those 3 things. It's personal development, systems, and then educating your staff.
Listeners, I'll pull this out for you very quickly. Personal development. You have to work on yourself. You can't just like coach the class. You have to, if you want to run a business, you've got to figure out how to be a CEO. And that requires leveling up in all sorts of things: communication, interpersonal relationships, management, all the other stuff. The thing that helps you do that. And again, the 2-brain gong goes off: systems. No one who comes on the show on our leaderboard does not have systems. If you ever want to be a successful gym owner, the tough love is you must have systems. That's the only answer. That's the only way you can delegate. Once you have systems, you get into staffing. Then you get into managing and making sure your staff sees the vision and mission for your business, buys in, is invested, having great careers. Again, 2Brain has a whole system of career road mapping to help you do this, but you become a manager of people, a CEO, because the owner operator model, which I did and I failed at, that owner operator model has limits. You can only do so much. If you want to grow into a larger situation, you're going to need staff. And that means you need to be a manager of people, not a teacher just of squats, right? There's nothing wrong with being an owner operator. You can do that, but there are limits to it. So let's dig in here. I want to ask you specifically about your high value offer. So you're talking about that. There's some psychological stuff that goes on there, right? Can I really charge this much for this thing? Talk to me about the mentality of like creating a high value offer and then justifying it to yourself and developing the confidence to sell it.
Sure. Well, really what I looked at is that I would have people come into the gym and they would have problems that needed to be solved. And the first thing I did is I looked at kind of what we were offering. And in the very beginning, it was group classes and foundations, of some sort. And what I was realizing is that that doesn't solve people's problems. They have this whole list of things that they're going to need help with. Some people, all they need is a place to work out. Some people, they just need community. Other people, they want programming. Other people, they need everything. They need personal training. They need nutrition. They need habit, accountability. They need all of these things. And so what I did is basically listen to everybody that had come in and what they needed. And then I put, this entire thing together that's like, this will solve almost everybody's problems. I mean, it's a slower, longer process. It's a longer commitment. But this is kind of what's going to solve everybody's problem. And then we can get creative in between there. And so then I said, okay, I started asking myself questions like, what if we're charging $10,000, what kind of service could I offer?
Ooh.
And so then I put all that together and then I said, okay, well, most people probably aren't going to pay $10,000. So what can I offer for $3,000? And then basically boiled that down to what we could, put in there. And then, came with basically it put together a series of offers in between there. And most of those meet people's needs. We found that there's very few that don't meet people's needs that are in there. But, like I said, it's a higher value offer, but you're solving a lot of problems. And people, when they come in, you explain how that's going to solve their problems, and they buy into that because these people are carrying so much pain with them. They've tried a lot of different things. They've failed at so many different times, and then you paint the picture of like, what you're willing to offer, and then they look at that and they say, yeah, you know what, that's exactly what I've been looking for. And so that's kind of how we arrived at the offers.
So you solve two problems at once. You created an offer that solves the problems of your clients, and it solves the problems of where does my revenue come from, right? So what you did was exactly what, gym owners should do, and I did not do this, is figure out, how do I solve my clients' problems? What's the best thing I can give them? Put it together and then sell that. I figured, what's the lowest price I can charge to get people in for these group classes? That was the wrong way to do it. And I was where you were, where I wasn't paying myself at all. So you figured out a different way to do it. Do you know the average offhand of average intake cost of a client? Like, what does it cost to sign up at your gym if you're comfortable sharing it?
So our group classes are $160 a month.
And is there, like, you in the package that you just described that goes up to $3,000? Is that like a longer intake package, or is that an actual coaching pack? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a 12-month package. It includes nutrition, accountability, exercise, group classes, personal training. It's the whole thing.
Okay, so it's a big deal. And that's the $3,000. We'll call it the platinum package.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's called.
Okay, there you go. I got it. 12, and it's a 12-month commitment.
No, I'm sorry, 12 weeks.
12 weeks. Okay, so 12 weeks, $3,000. And below that, you have two tiers. So you've got this bracketed offer where you have, I'm guessing it's like gold, silver, platinum or something like that.
Yeah, well, we actually have two tiers for our 12-week offer. We have an 8-week offer, and we have a 4-week that's kind of our fast track.
Okay. Now, not totally the topic of the show, but I'm going to ask it anyways because I got an itch for it. Your retention, I bet it's pretty good. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're close to 20
months. Yeah. So 20. The industry average is like 8. So 20 is spectacular. That's bordering on 2 years. Listeners, things to think about that. You get people in with a high value service. You're screening out people who can't afford your service. There's nothing wrong with these people, but if they're just not the right fit for your gym, that's okay. You get these great people in, and then you keep them for a long time and have high value, which is the secret to revenue for your business. But even better than that, keeping people for 2 years, you're actually changing their lives. We all know you can't change someone's life through fitness in 3 months, but you can get close to doing that in 2 years. And that's an average. So Justin's got clients that have been there for way longer. That is life-changing health and fitness. And it is a sustainable income for him. It is a sustainable income for his staff and its careers, and the whole thing works. So that's a really cool thing. So 12 weeks, pardon me, $3,000, that's the high end. And you've got this, like, you cover basically every problem that I could have as someone coming into your gym is taken care of in that package.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that that's it, like you said, if you get people to stay for 3 months, they're generally going to stay for 2 years.
Yeah.
But more importantly than that is that if you're solving the problems, they're going to stay with you for life. I think typically what happens in the gym industry, I think we're getting out of this, thanks to Two Brain and, putting all this information out here. But what generally happened in the early days is, everyone was just like, let's get you into this CrossFit gym and let's get you doing this. And then they would charge, basically look at the gym next door and charge $5 less than that and be like, I'm just going to jam everybody in this gym. But there was a lot of people that, like I said, that's perfect for. And then there's a lot of people that's not going to work for. And so you would lose all those people that's not going to work for. And so when you offer these things, you're basically helping the people that, just need the group classes. You're also helping all these people that need these higher value offers. Basically, you're just solving more problems.
That is the basis of a business. You're solving health problems. And I love that. Not just fitness problems, but health problems, because there's more value in health. And that's actually what we deliver at a gym level. This is some nuts and bolts, numbers and business stuff, but I want to ask the emotional thing. You went from, you see, you didn't pay yourself for 3 months. What did that feel like when you started to pay yourself? And like, was it did you just do like a trickle? Like, I get my 500, give myself $500 a month, or what happened? And how did it feel to get past that 3 month period with no income?
Sure. Well, first of all, I think that every gym owner that's been in that situation knows the stress. There's a lot of stress. I
Awful.
mean, you have a family, you have bills to pay, there's a lot of things going on, and there's an enormous amount of stress with that. And yeah, for me, it was just like I just blocked it all out, and focused on, I think now it's probably easier because there's a lot of people that are really successful, so you can see that it's going to be done. But back when we started in 2008, there wasn't that track history, and all the gyms seem to be kind of going through that like down series at the same time. CrossFit kind of took off a little bit, and then it, like, everyone opened all these gyms, and then it just went boom. And during that period of time, that was really stressful. And so I think I just blocked it all out and focused on trying to provide as much service to the clients as possible. And eventually, we got through that, and like, there's just such a stress relief from that. And then at a certain point, you just started to make money, and like your whole life changes at that point, because it's not just like, how do I eat? How do I pay my bills? It becomes, you're focusing on, how can I provide more value? How can I help more people? But when you can't help yourself, it's really hard to help other people. So yeah, there's that point where it switches, and that's where all the magic happens.
Chris Cooper is literally writing a book about this called Millionaire Gym Owner. It's coming out toward the end of 2023. The idea is, if you become a millionaire gym owner, you're going to have some extra to help other people. And because you are a service-based business and a great person who wants to help other people become healthy and fit, you're not just going to probably blow that extra money on yachts. You're probably going to open another gym and help more people, or you're going to give back to your community, or you're going to do all these other things that help improve the world. You're going to create careers at the bare minimum as you expand and grow for your staff. So there's a lot of really good things. Money is not a forbidden topic anymore in the gym industry. It once kind of was, where it's like, we're doing it for the clients. Yes, but you also have to support your family. You also have to support your staff. And eventually, if you do well enough, you can support the community around you. So watch out for that book, Millionaire Gym Owner. It is coming toward the end of the year. I love the story. I love going from that 3 months without being paid to something where you can actually kind of start looking around yourself and saying, like, okay, I can do this. I can start helping other people. Where did Two Brain fit into this? Talk to me about the mentorship angle, because you mentioned that seeing other people are doing things on our Tinker group. Talk to me about where Two Brain helped you out here.
Yeah, well, first of all, I wish I would have found it sooner, because I went through all the stuff on my own. It just learned every lesson the hard way. And what Two Brain does now is I look at, like, I go and look through everything that they had, because I think I joined last year, like, yeah, probably last year. And it systemized everything. Every lesson that I learned the hard way is all right there. And so basically, um, what it does is it shortens the learning curve for anybody. And if you are making less than $100,000 a year, you know, a lot of people will say, well, I can't afford the price of membership or mentorship. And let's say that you're making 30 grand a year. Well, you should be making 100 at least. And so you're losing out on $70,000 a year. So that's the price of, you know, I think the price of mentorship is going to pay for itself there. But it shortens the learning curve there, because from what took me 16 years, you could probably learn in 3. And so it's definitely worth that. Where I'm at with it now is that, you know, I went through and I looked at everything, and I've gotten to this point where now I'm in the Tinker group, and I'm around a lot of other gym owners that are in my similar situation. And so it's learning kind of what's next. It's learning what everybody else is doing that are people that are already successful. And so for me, I wanted to be around that. I wanted to be around people that you know, are in my stage right now. And in looking back, I didn't have people to talk to. I didn't have people to learn from. There wasn't any of that available back then. And so you know, I want to be a part of that now. And so that's really where Two Brain fits in.
So you're an old school gym owner. We're kind of the same vintage. I think I opened mine in I started the boot camp class in 2009. So you're a little ahead of me with the gym there, but same, we've been along for a long time. As a long-term gym owner, did you notice like it was kind of a warp speed button when you signed up with True Brain last year, even as a guy who's been in the industry for over a decade?
Well, I guess the best way to answer that is some of my metrics went downward because I took a step back and I looked at like what I needed to fix. And because Two Brain comes out with some really good metrics of you know, where things should be. And so in looking at that, I look at that and say, well, we're a little bit below there and we're way above here. And you know, so then I can look at the things that I need to solve. And what that did was actually create a better foundation for me to build from. And so like, it wasn't a direct, it was more like, and then it allowed me to kind of take off from there.
Pruning the tree might be an apt analogy, right? Where you got to take a few things off. For me, it was like a whole bunch of discounts and some people left over that, but then it was long-term thing. Is that accurate analogy for you?
Yeah, okay. For sure.
Since joining Tinker, and this, listeners, that is our upper level group for gym owners. Once you have $100,000 income, more or less, and you've got your, you know, your stuff together, you got a foundation under you, things are running really well, and you do not have to directly oversee every aspect of the gym, you can ascend to the Tinker level, which is, what else can I do? It's often open another gym. Some people open distilleries. Some people get into Airbnbs, real estate, crypto, all these other things. It is basically it's a CEO level group where people like Justin and other people at his level get together, talk about what they can do next. There's a lot of talk about service, a lot of talk about family, a lot of talk about important things that infect the communities around them. What happened to you when you joined that group? What happened to you, like sort of your mindset and your net owner benefit when you got into that space with those kind of cool people?
Yeah, well, again, I probably joined it a little bit late because at that point I had already built a house. I already started an Airbnb. I started crypto.
That's good. Yeah.
Again, I was learning some hard lessons. And so it was good when I got into that group, because now I hear people, they're like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. And I'm like, man, I learned that the hard way again. But now before I make any more moves, I've got this group of people around me that I can learn from. And so I've definitely slowed down from what I thought all these things that I should be doing, and listen to the group. And I'm able to talk to more people that are involved in it before I make decisions where I'm learning the hard way again.
So you limit the mistakes. And I've been in some of those meetings doing some media for these guys. And the Tinker group is really cool, where you can bounce ideas around and someone exactly like you will say, hey, you're thinking about investing in this, maybe consider this. And you're like, whoa, I had thought of that. That could have, you just saved me $20,000, you know? So that kind of stuff is really, really cool to see in that group. Sometimes it's as much as saying, don't do this, as it is, yeah, you should look at this investment. And there's a lot of focus in that group, and there's a lot of really, really cool ideas. So upper level gym owners, if you're not, if you want to think about what's next, look at that Tinker group. And if you're not at that level yet, you can get there and the exciting stuff happens. I want to ask you for some advice. So gym owners who they're not earning much from their gym yet. They're back where you were. Maybe they haven't paid themselves in a couple of months, or maybe they're paying themselves a small salary. What's your top piece of advice for increasing net owner benefit? What is step one for someone who is struggling right now?
Yeah, I think that has to be self-evaluation.
Mhm.
There's always a bottleneck to the business, and you have to figure out where that is. And generally, in the beginning, it's you. Most gym owners don't want to hear that, but it's you. There's some skill that you haven't acquired. There's something that you're not doing that's not contributing to that. And so, my advice for early gym owners that aren't making money, you got to figure out how to level up. You know, because at some point you're going to acquire so many skills that it's impossible for you not to succeed. And so if you're not doing well in the beginning, you got to figure out like what you got to look at yourself and figure out what that is.
Listeners, I'm going to give you a plug. If you are struggling, book a call with Two Brain Business. Look at on a call. They're going to evaluate your business, and they're going to look at different metrics, and they're going to help you say, where is your greatest area of opportunity, and tell you what you need to do. So if you can't look at yourself and you can't say, I'm struggling to do X and I don't know, if you can't figure that out, book that call, talk to our people. They'll give you some ideas. And if you're the right fit, we'll work with you one-on-one and tell you step by step, here's what you need to do to grow as an entrepreneur. Not a fitness coach. We're not going to tell you how to teach a squat better. You can already do that, but you might be in your own way where you maybe don't know how to market your gym. Maybe you don't know how to create an offer. Maybe you don't know how to retain staff, retain clients, whatever it is, we can help you solve that problem. So personal development is a huge thing. And like Justin said, investing in that can be a huge payoff, because if you're not making $100,000 a year yet, you can. And you should, because you deserve it. So now for gym owners they're doing well, they're doing okay. Maybe they're making a good living, or they're making like close to $100,000 or something like that. Like, what's a step for these guys to drive that number up to maybe get into the top 10 leaderboard where you're at?
Sure. So, obviously, if they're making money, they're doing something right. So, personal development is probably at a good level. Their systems have to be down for them to make money. And the next stage is really developing staff. Right now, that's kind of the stage that we're in. Is 100% of my time is on developing staff. You're only one person, and unless you want to do everything, you've got to get your staff to be able to do it. And so basically the stage that I'm in right now is trying to teach my staff everything that I know. And really the cool part right now is I'm challenging myself to see how fast I can get somebody in and get them to level all the way up. And
Or time.
yeah, that's my focus right now. And so I think that's the last stage of that.
So, gym owners, I'm going to give you two resources in the show notes. One of them I mentioned earlier. The first is going to be the value ladder exercise. If you don't know how to get yourself out of roles and start getting staff people in place to take off the hats that you wear and put them on themselves, the value ladder exercise is a step-by-step way to do it. It's very simple. I'm not going to go into details here, but it's basically offloading tasks, and there is an order and a process to doing it. Put that in the show notes for you. The second one, I'm going to give you a resource. It is Chris Williams. He is in the Tinker group with Justin. Chris runs a gym in California. I think two gyms in California, and he manages a staff of 20 people. His focus as a CEO is staff development and ascension. And he won an award at our summit for doing this. I have an interview with him where he can talk exactly about this concept that Justin said, because if you want to grow more income, you're probably going to have to do it with help from your staff. And if you can't retain staff and develop them, it's not going to happen. So, Justin, I want to thank you so much for being here. I love these shows when I get to talk to gym owners who are on the leaderboard. I really appreciate you sharing it, because back in the day, this kind of stuff didn't happen. We just made the mistakes ourselves and bashed our heads against the wall. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. That was Justin Dickson. This is Run a Profitable Gym. This is where the world's best gym owners tell you exactly what they're doing so you can have the same success. You do not have to make all the mistakes that I made and that Justin made. You can just get the answers and then take action. Please subscribe for more episodes on your way out. And if you're on YouTube, please hit the like button or leave a comment. I would love to hear from you.